One.
Welcome, people. Please join the pledge of allegiance.
The pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. I make a motion to approve the selectmen's minutes of September 20th, 2022. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the selectmen's non-public minutes of September 20th, 2022.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the selectmen's minutes October 4th, 2022.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the selectmen's work session minutes of October 7th, 2022. Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Also in the signature folder, we signed a supplemental intent to cut and one new intent to cut, and a deed for Woodland Cemetery, 2 lots. Make a motion to approve the manifest dated October 20th in the amount of $42,409.87.
One second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And in the mail folder, had a email from the town attorney regarding the local ordinance citation. Also, a court decision on case number 212/2020. And we had newsletters from the Watershed Alliance and the Humane Society. Administrative comments, Audrey.
On the email on the local ordinance citation, the health officer is going to be speaking to the attorney at 9 on Thursday morning if anyone wants to participate.
Okay.
So let me know.
Where's that going to be?
Yeah, you can probably call in from anywhere actually. Let's see. I spoke to the school regarding the concern a resident had at our last meeting of the 3-way stop and the school bus stopping there.
Yeah.
And after discussion, because they've stopped there for a long time, the transportation person was going to go check it out. And I said, I think the concern seems to be that the parents' vehicles are too close to the stop sign, because it sounded like people can't pull back in and they're sitting in the middle of the road waiting to make a turn. So she's going to have the parents back off from the stop sign wherever they park. And she's also going to go check it out. So that should be taken care of. The audit has basically been finalized. I got the standard letter from the auditors that I sent to legal, and they just say, you know, we're great, we're covered. So that's the last step for the final audit. We've set up an account in Avatar so that the health officers can see the most recent edits done by Avatar or the assessing clerk. And that is a read-only account, so but they can see any permits or the back sheets that others can't see. There was a property that was deeded earlier this year, and the gentleman was interested in repurchasing it. So I sent him the required certified letter to repurchase. You have a work session on the 25th about the solid waste budgets and the executive budget. And I gave you all a brief, I researched several towns and their animal ordinances, and some of them are extremely complex, and I gave you one that I thought would fit Effingham for you to review that we could look at in a future work session. And I want the public to be aware, it'll be on the website later today, there's probably about maybe 50 homes that have been chosen for interior inspections. And the letter explains how to go onto the website and set your appointment. I've had calls, what if I work? There's a box for a comment to say, you know, when you are available. I don't know if they'll do a Saturday, they'll just ask you some questions. I'm not quite sure what they'll do. But I posted the list of properties and the letter on the website.
If somebody doesn't have a computer, be able to do that online. Is there an alternative for them?
Yeah, my phone number.
Okay.
And I told Avatar to use David's phone number next time. Okay, and then I have a potential new hire that I'll talk about in non-public. I think that brings me up to date.
Okay, so you want to know in public tonight?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Vicky, you got anything?
Yeah, attended a workshop on invasive plant management given by Solid Waste Operator Training, DES, on October 6th. And I attended a work session with the departments on the budget on October 11th. And I attended today from 9 to 12, another workshop on Wonder Woman of Solid Waste. And I met with the transfer station crew to discuss the Timex insurance recommendations for safety around the glass and metal containers. And I have come up with a plan, and it comes to approximately about $1,500. So we can look into that and to find money to purchase this, because it is a requirement, not a requirement, it's recommended because because of safety
That's
from
for
our
railings.
insurance, Primex insurance.
So are the railings would be movable or are they?
Yes.
Okay. And then.
Well, the posts are not gonna be, but you can move the railings, but what I'm looking at is 2 gates. There's gonna be a permanent in front of the metal, and then come around 2 gates that they can open, the crew can get in and out if they need to, and then another railing, so that no one can go beyond.
Okay. And then painting the steel platforms.
We've already got the paint and the sand and everything, but waiting for a time to do it. So,
When it's not raining.
yeah, when it's not raining, exactly. So, yeah. And that's it for me.
I'm good with proceeding on that.
The railings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta get that done.
Yeah.
There's a risk factor there that. we've had to fall back.
And we were going to just do it in front of where the glass container was, but Mark said that people are walking up to where you throw the metal and they're doing one of those things there, so I'm just gonna extend another railing there and do that.
You guys are talking amongst yourselves a little bit.
Sorry,
Thank you.
okay.
Want us to talk to you?
Sure.
Vicky, you'll get with Audrey, and get that stuff ordered?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'll get with you, Audrey.
Thank you.
Justin?
All right.
Sorry, you get
No,
anything?
no, I'm all
Okay.
set. Yeah.
Couple things, just for all the feedback that's going out there and social media and all the discussions going around town, around Bailey Road and that whole process. Just to remind everybody, early on, I took on being the point person to deal with HEB, who is our hired professional services entity, to be able to get information back to the town. So as the information has come to me from HEB, it has been sent over to Audrey's office for distribution to the select board. We were notified in the last day, Mike Holland got information regarding our Wilkinson Swamp grant documents that we've signed twice now. Apparently DES made some errors in their document, therefore we have to sign them a 3rd time. They also changed the definition of access for the money, which is actually very beneficial for us, because they kind of front-loaded the contract, meaning we can deal with permitting, we can deal with engineering and everything right up front, rather than having to put out the money and then collect it later. The L-chip board is meeting today in Concord over the next day or two. We have our phase 2 application in for $155,000 and a $20,000 Moose Blade grant. Cross your fingers. We could use having that awarded to us. Monday night, I'll attend the ambulance meeting over in Freedom. Have we got anybody else that's going to that?
I'm going with you.
Okay, good. That's 6 o'clock. Let's see, the Oxby Effingham recreation contract, we submitted it to town council after both towns looked at it, Oxby and Effingham. We both use the same town council, Matt Surge. Matt came back with a question on conflict of interest, and he's searching something to see if he can still do it and make it fit within the guidelines. We just asked him to kind of expedite that a little bit so we could get it moving. Work session next week. I'd like to add 2 discussions on there, which I don't think will take a ton of time. The transfer station strategy research committee met last night and basically reviewed the document that I had previously submitted to the office. There were a few things were voted, basically recommended, not voted, recommended to be delayed to a future date, whatever that might be. And a list of things that would be recommended to do with a DES grant and some of the resources of the special reserve fund we have for the transfer station. So any of the improvements we're talking about would not be coming out of any additional tax dollars whatsoever. Any issues with having those 2 added on?
No.
Okay, good. All right, and then I'll wait till the next one for the.
Okay. You want to do that now?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
What is it for?
Under new business, so as a result of the discoveries we've made at the historic town hall project during the powder post beetle remediation, we've had 2 different change orders come in from Cobalt Construction Management. We basically had to pour additional concrete posts that were never part of the original program. We had to dig down for those posts. We had to reset granite posts. We had to basically look at a capability to reuse as much of the original flooring lumber as we can. And what we come down to is, by the time you took what wasn't usable after being lifted, plus that which was loaded with powder post beetle holes, active, about 10% of that floor was usable. And what we're going to do when the new floor is laid down, so the new floor is going to be hardwood, we're going to use that old floor as an inset to where the proscenium stage used to be. So we basically took some measurements when we had removed everything out of the building, and when it goes back in, we believe we've got enough lumber to do that inset. That change order is $5,380.07. I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 The cost of this comes out of the historic town hall project. The second change order is for plaster. When we remove the ceilings to access the higher ceiling level, there's a lot of the walls that are cracked or having chunks of plaster that are missing. So we've had an add-on charge to the additional plastering work at the charge of $4,100. Again, the Cobalt. This will bring change order 5. This is change order 5. It'll bring the new total up to $168,322.56. Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the last item, no, we got 2 more guys. We have previously, the select board has approved the insulation for the main floor ceiling. As a result of the discovery of lead paint that needed to be abated, it changed the scope of the work. So I'm asking the board tonight to rescind the previously approved $2,650 proposal and approve a new proposal for $4,090 to do that installation work. Make a motion.
And this was all
this is all-
unforeseen stuff.
No, yeah, this additional add-on, until we knew we had lead paint, once we knew we had a lead problem and that had to have a whole special process, it caused this one to go up because of the amount of work. we had to do.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
and again, this particular installation project also comes out of the historic town hall budget program. Last item, I sat through a session with NHMA a couple weeks ago. Going through the hard road to travel training and all the updates they've done. It's the first time they've done a full update to their manual in about 6 years, I think Stephen Buckley said. One of the things that they went down through the presentation, they said each and every town in the state should make sure the select board has adopted RSA 3105. And that particular RSA is indemnification of municipal officials. So I'm gonna make a motion that we adopt that RSA for the town of Effingham.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman? if I
Yes.
may, we put that on the warrant article a couple of years ago when I was on the board. It had been done previously, but we couldn't find the paperwork. So you should have a warrant article that we adopted that.
Good, and I don't mind doing it again in this meeting and have it overly documented.
Well, that's why we put it on the town warrant.
Yeah.
It's immortalized.
Is it?
That is it.
Okay, we got a lot of people waiting for budgets. I just wanna, I'll bring up one thing. We meet every 2 weeks. How do you people feel about the off week having a work session, like at 11? So we just can't seem to get enough
Yes.
done.
Yes, and particularly this time of the year,
Yeah,
we
not just budget, but
every, yeah, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
but the off week and work session. Agreed.
and you
I
couldn't,
agree too.
you couldn't make it any earlier, right?
This coming Wednesday, I'm gonna be late because I got a doctor appointment that had been scheduled
It'd be Tuesday,
Tuesday.
it'd be the off Tuesday.
The off Tuesday, okay, we got one scheduled for this Wednesday, right?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, oh, perfect. Cool, done.
But you said you
Let
couldn't do,
it work.
but Chuck, you said you couldn't do it till 11.
I can't do it till 11 because I've got standing appointments at 9 to 10 o'clock on
Yeah.
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So 11 o'clock will work.
That'll work.
So,
The only thing is that's usually the days that there are Zoom, you know, like the DES and SWAT, you know,
yeah,
that's when they have that, like today, I had one from 9 to 12. And it's always on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then I
I
have
mean, if
the-
there's one that comes up.
Yeah, if
that
there's
you-
a
that you want to
conflict.
attend, we can just push it.
change the time,
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
as long as we
All
right.
know, change the day. As long
Okay.
as we know.
yeah, I agree, we do
Okay.
need it,
Okay,
especially now.
so we'll count on that. You get that?
Got it.
Okay.
So the first one be what?
Talking
on the
to you, looking
25th?
at it too.
Yeah, I
The first one be the
do.
25th?
Yeah, well, we got one scheduled
got one
already.
anyways, right.
for next
Okay.
Tuesday.
Okay,
And you said you had Heidi was the first one on the
Yes.
list?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, just made it by the skin of my teeth.
I'm gonna ask people to come up and sit at the table when you talk or present, so I can capture you on the mic. And I know you guys want to move the mic
you all
around, but
right?
if people tap the
I
table,
know.
Oh, yeah, just everything moves slowly.
It's all right.
okay.
Thank you for putting me on the agenda.
Mhm.
I'm here mostly to find how the board feels about the nonprofits putting an event board at the dump transfer station, amazing myself. I approached the board 2 years ago. I did not get the feeling it was very positively received. And we did meet with all the nonprofits at that time, and then it kind of fizzled out at the end of the year. So I'm coming again to say that we are looking into it again, and how does the board feel about it this time? We're looking at something, we're open to all sorts of ideas. The idea is that all the nonprofits would have one place central to the town to post events happening instead of where
So
they must.
it's like an event board.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they will be used by them. it's mainly the meeting house that has discussed it at this point, but after talking with you guys, we'll go and meet with all the other groups. At that time, there was a lot of pushback from putting it because of plowing, in the wintertime, where to place it, what kind of material to put it, as in how permanent it would be. So I'm throwing this out to you to see if you feel your your viewpoints.
As long as it doesn't interrupt the snow plowing, the way it's done, we can probably find a place to put it. The key question is where people think they wanna have it. Because natural places right down before the hill
And
before you go out,
that's the plowing.
that's a plowing hazard, so we can't put it there.
Could the board suggest to us a place to put it so that might determine the style of what we put up?
Who was the one, was the bake sale, was Preservation Society had one by the free table, right? One summer.
Well, they put one
I
every
have
week,
no
but
idea.
it's
No,
more.
I was looking at Steve
Oh.
behind, sorry.
But you can, that's what go
Well, I
on.
had a,
Karen's here too.
I had a sign on Home Depot bucket. It was filled with concrete, just
Yeah,
advertising it on board, and it was where it was close to where the gate opens. You know,
Down
right in
below.
that area, and that never. But the point was, I didn't have that there all winter anymore.
no,
Took that
that's,
out because it was portable.
yeah, but I think that would probably be the best place for one,
'Cause
because
I
then they
know-
can plow straight by it.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you looking for one that will be taken out in the winter or left in the winter?
Uh,
I'm just trying to get
If
the
it's
board's
off the edge
feedback.
of the, if it's off the edge of the pavement, you can, away from where they
We're
plow.
looking at something that would have be posting like late winter to maybe Christmas, so that all the nonprofits, events that they have would be there.
So are you gonna restrict it, because as soon as you put it up,
Well, we are,
people are going to be
Right.
putting all kinds of stuff up
right,
there.
so right now, I've been talking with mostly with Jason at this point, and what we're talking about is if we have, each of the nonprofits would have a specific area on it, so that it would be a limited amount of space, and perhaps even a limited amount of how long in advance you put it up there. Just certain people would have the opportunity to put stuff on it and take it off or be in charge of it. But it would be just at this point for nonprofits.
How are you gonna police all
Yeah.
the stuff that's gonna get?
I can see the,
Yeah,
the
I'll-
sale
right,
ads up
Are you
there,
gonna
yard
have-
sale
no,
ads.
but see, that's what we're trying to avoid.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
somebody's
we-
gonna have to police that, like. the other
Right,
ones. It's gonna
right,
be
that'll be
nuts.
under the bylaws when we do it, but,
Okay.
but right now, I'm just trying to feel you guys out before we go and put the legwork, because the last time we did it the other way around, and it kind of hit us on the
Yeah,
nose.
I'm in agreement with Lenny that if it's below the table and we're not influencing any of the leach fields right in that area, and we can put it off the pavement.
Do me a favor, draw me a quick diagram so I can take that with me. Because that's busy issues doing that. Just so that I'm sure that I'm on the right place in my mind.
I'll tell you what, I'll do better than that. I'll make a note. I actually have a map that
Okay,
we've been working on.
Yeah.
And I will email that over to you.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
you'll be able to see it.
that'll be awesome, thank you.
Are you doing public comment on anything?
uh,
I don't mind with it, because if we have more information to take with us, it's fine.
you got a comment, simple one?
Well, just simple, I think where our sign used to be is right down by the exit.
Yeah.
And if you have people exiting to stop and see 7 or 8
Yeah, I
different
know.
signs is a really bad spot for people to stop. Is there a way to put, you know where the free table is now? Is there a way to mount something behind, where the cars are stopped
I
and
think
doing
the plow,
the
I
garbage?
think,
Just
I
said
think that
right after
interferes
the
with the
free
plow.
table.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah,
right
right,
by
yeah.
the free table.
Yeah,
Oh,
where
by
people
the-
are already stopped and out of the car.
Behind the free table is the leach field. You
Yeah.
can't get into that.
Oh, even with buckets like, okay. Buckets. It's gonna be permanently, okay.
Well, I would,
Yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna do this effort, I would like to
Yeah,
see something that's
alright.
permanent for
Yeah.
people to use and realize it's there.
We had,
But
we
if you
had
go
also,
to the transfer station, you may wanna check with the guys that work there to see what they get their feelings on.
their biggest thing the last time was plowing, and they didn't want to have any responsibility for it. Which is why, in kind of in the beginning, we're thinking of just having a few people that were allowed to access it. And then they would know, the transfer people would know who could be allowed there. would kind of take care of a lot of people going in and out.
Can you add a sponsored by sign so people realize it's not the town maintaining the content?
That probably be the top of it.
Just
Nonprofit.
somewhere on it,
Well, I should say nonprofit events, yeah, that's it.
maintained by,
again, yeah.
who's the
Oh, I
maintenance
see
of
what
it?
you're saying.
Because otherwise, we'll get comments, people
Okay.
going in, going like, well, how come the town's doing this and that? It's like, no, the town's not doing this and that.
And I would say come up with something, come back to the board of selectmen, and we can see if it's something that,
Yeah, we
Yeah.
come back with. a
Oh,
plan.
Could be,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, but again, I
Yeah.
didn't want to do that work and then find out
Right,
we were not
right.
supportive of
We're very open to it.
it. Okay, great, if you
I'll send
email,
that
that'd be
line.
awesome, thank you very much.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Heidi.
Oh,
So we do that now? Okay, do it, and then we get into the budget.
All right, one last item that I had that I forgot, for those that attended the street dance at the sponsored by the Friends of the Effingham Library this past Saturday afternoon, 3 to 6, good time had by all, there was probably about 150, 175 people that showed up, met expectations. The sandwich rhythm section, you could hear up and down 153, and I could actually hear them as I was coming over across the snow road coming down into the valley. It was really loud, it was really nice. We had information booth there around what's going on with the historic town hall project. We had a whole bunch of pictures that were printed up so people could see some of the access to it. And we basically had a donation jar for those that wanted to do donations, and there was $735 in donations.
Wow.
In addition to that, between Effingham Preservation Society, Friends of the Library, the rhythm band was actually, money was raised outside of that to be able to pay the band something for their time and effort for being there. And 2 food trucks, Meat Eat of the Thai food, Good Taste, and Dueling Chefs, both were there. And as I was getting ready to leave, I had a quick discussion with each one of them, and they were running out of food. So
wow.
it was the right type, right size event for them to be able to offer their wares, and people were happy about it with their take home. Thank you.
Grace, we've been waiting for you.
Oh, yeah, 5 minutes. Oh, well, yes, thank you. I was just relaxing. Thank you. For you? For you? And for you. Oops, I think. Thank you. Give you 2, okay.
So, can you sit at the table so I can get you on the mic? Thank
Oh,
you.
sure. Oh, I get to sit here.
Okay.
So as you can see, we came in with the same budget we had last year. And last year's budget was the same as the previous year, except for a bump up to cover the increased cost for the telephone and the new fiber optic internet lines. So this is our 3rd year in a row going with the same budget. We've been able to work within that. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but what I wanted to show was with that money, what we've been doing at the library over this past year, the programs we've been able to offer. We've been doing a lot of programming. We have coffee hour on Wednesday mornings with baked goodies, refreshments and such. And generally we have a speaker come in for 15 minutes to up to an hour, depending on if we can shut them off or how interesting they are. So it's really been very good. We've had a really great selection of people. And the library staff now is lining up people for starting in January. We don't do it in December because there's just so many other conflicting things going on. We offered chair yoga each week. So we have that. We've had rotating art exhibits. So every 2 months we have a new artist come in. And I can't wait to have it after we have the library reopened with the higher ceiling and the more visual space. I think it's going to look really great. And I think our first artist is Effingham resident Jennifer Van Course. So I encourage you to come and see. Book club meets monthly. The big thing that we did this year with the grant money that we received is we offered free computer classes. So the first class was 15 weeks, and which is a major commitment, met weekly, but people did, and it was starting right at the very beginning, like what's the difference between a tablet, a laptop, desktop, how do you turn it on? So it was, and then it went on to help people with software programs and so forth. We have a really good instructor for that. And then we also did some classes on smartphone usage, which we are definitely going to offer again. And I'll tell you, every class I've sat in on, I learned something, whether it was a smartphone one or the other one, it was great. So I'm kind of advertising for our next set of classes that are starting too, because they were really good. We had, as you can see on here, we had somebody come in from the mushroom company that's in Tamworth and give a presentation, which was great. One on wild animals. We had basket weaving. We had birdhouse building, all sorts of different things going on. And then we had a lot of children's programs as well. This year, with one of the grants, we did a program on homeschooling. So we really wanted to find out what homeschooling parents wanted. And it was not at all what we expected. We thought, oh, they're going to want resources. They're going to want books. And as much as anything, they wanted the opportunity to have the kids get together and socialize. So from that, we were able to develop or enhance, I guess, a couple of the programs that we have between the preschool story hour and the STEM program that we had. It really helped a lot of the homeschooling families to bring the kids in and get them involved and meet other kids as well. They started up a Facebook page, and they're sort of self-sustaining there, and we're there to help guide them as they want. But that was very successful because we have a lot of homeschooling families in town. So they were very appreciative that we provided something for them. And then, of course, I think most people know the kids movie night. We have that as well, and we'll be continuing that when we open back up. We did get one new grant. So some of the grants that we had this year, we did list them because this is the year we implemented them. So the money was awarded at the end of last year about this time, and then this year we implemented them. And two of the grants, both the Sharp one from New Hampshire Humanities and the New Hampshire Charitable grants, go through the beginning of next year. So that's how we're able to offer the computer classes again and pay the instructor. So that's been very good. I think one of the really cool ones that we're going to be doing a bigger splash on is the Oral Histories grant that was done in collaboration with the Historical Society to do an archive of people giving their oral histories as well as photographs to support it and such. And Amanda's been working on the website for that, and that's been really great, the little snippets that I've seen. So anyway, we have a new cataloging system. We have a story walk that we're actually installing at the school this week that we had at the street dance this past week, which a story walk is these different placards that are set up where the kids can read a page of a book and then they can go to the next placard and read the next page and so forth to get them integrating fun times with reading as well. It's all about getting them to read in different ways. So and I think that's it. Those are the highlights. A lot going on, a lot planned for this next year.
You seem to be pretty busy, and thank you for that. And thank you also for all the grants that you get.
I've got another one I have my fingers crossed on.
And everything else out.
Yeah, it's
Can't fault you
Just
for
keep
keeping your budget flat too.
we're trying on that. We're trying. Well, I'll know more next week what we'll have, if we have any, I don't want to say excess, but you know, if we do have any excess or not. We're getting down to the, you know, end of the year now with our spending and such. So that's it. I don't know. Any questions?
I have no. I know you don't.
I've already heard this.
Every day.
You don't dare question anything.
I could make the motion.
Feedback.
Vicky, any thoughts?
Not really, no. I mean,
You can always,
It's a good,
Give me a
it's,
ring or
it's a good
whatever.
it's a good project, and you can get kids reading.
yes, and if you think of anything, any ideas are always welcome, because
Yeah,
there's always other things that we can do. Because sometimes we suppose we know something like with the homeschooling, and then wasn't at all what we expected, so ideas are welcome.
Well, I
and
make,
speaking, yeah, the same, so that's.
I make a motion to approve the library budget 2023 in the amount of $64,285.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody, I
Thank you.
appreciate it, and if you think of any questions or ideas, let me know.
Next up is Carol. Come on down.
Well, I can't be quite as excited as that. Good job at the library. So I'm here as supervisor. Our budget went down,
Yeah, excellent.
but well, that's because it's.
One less election.
Yeah. So going forward, I was speaking with Audrey and David, our salary line, I think just to make things easier, there's a stipend that's always the same, and then there's also pay per election. And that depends on which of the three of us end up at that election. Sometimes one can't go. So we're getting rid of our supply line going forward next year and want to split that out, stipend and elections. And it will make it a lot easier for them in the back. We're also, David said, we're gonna get rid of the software because you guys are covering that now. We kept it in there at $1 just, and also the postage, I believe. You guys, if it's cheaper to use your stamper, I think, than us buying stamps. And the supplies, now we all get to share out in the modular. So all those lines can go away, I believe.
Yeah.
And we're actually physically driving to Concord probably this year for post-COVID workshops, no longer on the Zoom. So we had to use those in there. And that's it. We have one town election this year coming up. And that's it. If there's any questions.
I have no questions.
None.
I would make a motion to approve the supervisor's checklist budget for 2023 in the amount of $2,083.
Second.
What?
She knocked off 3 of them.
We knocked off postage, supplies, and software.
8. You said 8. Did you say 83?
I said 83. I
Oh.
made $2,080.
Look at us, say.
Second it.
Been moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Deanna.
So I don't have anything to pass out to you. Do you already have everything you need?
I'll get you a budget sheet.
You need your budget sheets?
I have mine. Thank you.
Which one you want to do first? Town clerk or tax collector?
How about we do tax code?
Okay. You get it? $41.50.
Yeah. Collector. Yeah. Okay. Got them both. Yeah.
Your postage taken into account the postage increase coming in.
I would like to say yes,
3 cents.
even with the meter.
The year will change, I just don't know how much it'll go up. I just want to be sure what's in there. So go on.
What you spent today.
So I still have 444.
1896.
Oh,
Yeah. Spent
Yeah, so I still have
1900, so we get 9. So,
You wanna walk it that much? So, postage increase coming in January, 3 cents. Don't know what the effect is on the meter postage. Question of the day is, have we got enough in here on the different postage lines for people based on the increase coming?
I'm comfortable with the number.
Is most of your postage election, you know, I'm seeing you do the absentee ballots and the,
Yeah, but we only have we only have the town election for next year.
So the increase is a 5% increase for this, the stamp rate, the median rate will obviously go up, literally that adds $100. Well, rather 2100, 2200,
Would you be more comfortable if I go up $100?
based on the fact I don't think it's our last increase. Wouldn't surprise me to have another one later next year, because this is the second one in six months.
Okay, so put it to 22. So that line on tax collector will go to 22.
How come the recording fees is down?
The only thing I can think of is maybe Darlene and I had discussed it and she thought that's where the title research would come from, but it's always come from the legal line.
Do you think that's where she put it?
Not in the past 3 years, it hasn't been taken from there, but I went through all my budget stuff for the past 2 years and there's no rhyme or reason why that's there, and that's all I can think of is why. Because she thought it should come from there.
Audrey, do we have a way to run a report search to determine the recording fees and wherever it might have been allocated?
yes. So your 2021 was fairly high, 1,500, 1484. So it would probably be helpful if we looked at that detail.
And I think that was a lot of learning curves for all of us that year, so we don't know how actual that is for my expenditures versus assessing in your office.
I'm thinking we might want to run an internal report to make sure our numbers
Mhm.
close on that. Tell me about the salary assistance.
So-
High level, what are we doing?
Filing, basically, to start. And it's just gonna stay at the 8 hours. I will advertise. What other questions do you have about
So
that?
your assistant is full-time? No.
No,
But
Where-
Barbara's what,
average 30 hours.
30?
But this will free us, that stuff is not getting done because of all the extra demands. And it's only gonna get worse.
So if you have an assistant, for any tax collector, that would free you people up, even Barbara up, so you could be doing more of your work. Because I hear a lot of complaints about having to make appointments still. And I know years ago, you used to have like Tuesdays, you were here like 12 to 6 because the selectmen would meet. And then when COVID hit, all that changed. Did you ever think of going back to that?
Well,
Because people say, you know, my day off from work is Wednesday, and I call and leave a message, nobody gets back to me, so therefore I lost my day. So,
well, I truly
But-
believe we get back to everybody. We have caller ID. So even if they don't leave a message, we call them back. And we have kept, since all those complaints years ago came out, we have probably filled up 3 notebooks with when they called, what they wanted, and we check off as we call them back and leave a message. Left message on machine, we even write notes like that. So I can go back.
Yeah,
And as far as me not being available for anybody, I've met people here at 5:30 in the morning,
I know.
6 o'clock in the morning. I have honestly not had one complaint that somebody can't get to me, because I will go outside of my hours to accommodate them. So I don't know what
But
you're
it's
hearing.
them calling and making an appointment to meet you here, right?
They do, yes, they do
Yeah.
call.
So,
Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to meet you at 5:30, I can understand that, but if it's between 8 and 2, your business hours, I mean, why can't they just walk right in? And if you get 2 or 3 people already, they just don't have to wait.
Right, yeah, I'm
First come,
not
first
saying
served.
they can't walk in.
First come, first served.
Well, actually, we like appointments.
Yeah.
Because then we can, I can kind of contain it so that I know when I can dedicate myself to my work. And the appointments work much better.
Yeah.
but it's not convenient for people.
But I'm not hearing that from anybody.
You and I are seeing it on social media, which is not the preferred communication.
No,
method.
and I'm not on social
Well,
media.
I've
right.
had people
I-
ask
yeah.
me face to face, and I said, well,
Right.
let's be in his office.
Tell them to call me, I guess. Honestly, I've not had one complaint, no, and I'm gonna say a good 85% of the people have told me they appreciate the appointments much better. They like walking in, getting their stuff done and leaving. And 90% of the people who do walk in without appointment, we do stop what we're doing.
Right,
and
I've
help
seen them do that when I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we're not gonna turn anybody away unless we,
But
very seldom have we done that.
pre-COVID, things were a lot different.
Right, right,
I had one night that, like I said, Tuesdays you stayed till 6.
yep, and I
It's
lost my
1%.
night person and I can't do
And then
nights.
one Saturday, I think was first Saturday of the month or something, we waited to 12 or whatever.
So is there not, I'm thinking you can't pick a specific night, because that does, you don't know who can make it that night either and stay open, but you don't know when people want to come in.
Yeah.
But you're not.
And all they have to do is call me. I can even
Right.
come here on a Saturday.
Right, so maybe we could put something on the town website about that, that by appointment, if you need an appointment at a time that when. you
And
know,
I
that-
tell everybody that I
Yeah,
speak to.
but I think if they can see it,
Okay. Well, it can accommodate
Make-
outside of these hours.
yeah,
Sure,
perfect.
sure.
I'm sure that nobody's gonna come running at 7, 8 o'clock at night, but, you know, if they know that that's possible, I think it would make them feel a little better.
Anything else on the tax collector?
Just a question. On salaries and salary increases, how did you come up with what you recommended?
Well, my deputy got a 30% last year, so I didn't wanna try that again. I only gave myself a little bit because I know if I leave, I don't have a very high salary anyways, and it would be very hard for you to get somebody in. I just wanted to just put a little bit up there.
We've been using a guideline of 3%.
And I think that's what I did. right?
2.3.
2.3. So you're saying you wanna give me more?
Not if you don't want it.
I will take it.
With the comment you made, which is a valid comment.
About?
We've gotta be thinking of what's happening in the future. If something happens to you, and we have to replace you, we are not gonna do it the same rate of pay, benefits, or anything else. So,
Right, because there's no benefits.
you know, we're not going above 3% with anybody, from the department, or at least that's not my vote. But I would have no issues with you basically doing the 3%.
Can you do the math on your calculator?
Probably already done it.
No, I didn't actually do that. 515 brings it to a total of 17,674.
So what's that bring the total to?
Mr. Scout, you got your calculator going? Going right now. $219 so far increase. We'll add that to the bottom line. 40, so the 43, 157, add 219 to it. 43, 276. Nobody can make a motion on right now, you're still discussing. 43, 276.
And I make a motion to approve the tax collector budget for 2023 in the amount of $43,276.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, town report.
It'll be the same thing on that salary for the town clerk, right? Correct.
Yeah.
17,674. With your software, have you got any indication of any increases in?
Yeah, it averages roughly like $75.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put it in.
No, nobody jumps. Okay. Now do the same thing on the,
Postage.
postage on this one too.
Postage,
You're
100.
talking amongst yourselves again.
Yeah, postage, 1575. That's kind of matches the 5% increase coming, 2,200 on postage. Postage, 1575, not 1,500. That figured out.
You have total.
44,381. Thank you. My fingers is just not working right.
Anybody have anything else? Make a motion motion to approve the town clerk budget for 2023 in the amount of $44,381.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Did that hurt?
Dwayne. So I'll see. Let's see, big increase in bank supplies.
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because I'm not quite sure where the trainings would go. And we actually had signed up for one, and then the place burnt down, so we didn't end up actually going. That was the Red Jacket at Conway. There was a training scheduled, so I didn't have a dues and training line. So I placed that $150 for conferences into that line, where I probably should have created a new line strictly for that. But I only had 4 lines, not thinking about the fact that I could have just added a new.
We can explain it this year, but we can add the lines next year.
Okay. And then under bank charges, just to make you aware, the program that's used for the credit cards, the payments for the town clerk and tax that are done on credit card, you have to have a user access that gets paid monthly, and that's $10 a month for the treasurer to access that. So that's why that bank charges I increased that. Other than that, I left everything else the same. So I didn't know if there was a general pool for trainings for all departments, or how that worked. Do you have a separate, you want to track that in? Because I don't care where it goes, it's just
No, we've done it. We haven't
By-
done it
by the department. Okay.
We need to figure out what we need to do.
Anybody see any problem? Good. Done?
Elaine, do you have a membership fee for,
That was the other item on the financial for the
Okay.
NHGFOA.
yeah,
Yeah. That's the $50 that's already been spent year to date.
You good with it then?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's budget in the amount of $44,535.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Say aye. Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We gotta scrutinize this.
Yeah.
But
Dave.
Well,
What you giving that to?
no, I didn't.
Audrey. That's just the work, the breakdown you give out every year of how you do the secretary. So we just figured it by. how
You want me to
many
make
meetings we have,
copies?
Vicky.
I would like one, please. Sorry.
All right, you guys need to talk about it, please. Thank you.
And we have one in the budget. Did you pass that out?
I thought you did the budget
Yeah,
package.
budget package. Yeah. Don't have it with me.
Okay.
Same format as previous.
So we reduced the workshops to 1. People haven't been attending so much online available that they can get that. We've been buying the books to 2 books a year, so we went down to 1 now. But you have all the information in if you want to read it. So that's where you see the reduction come down in the total overall.
What's that in the advertisement? What'd you say?
As far as workshops.
Workshop.
Workshop?
You see, we made a
Yeah,
note on that, went down to 1.
yeah.
That's what we talked about in the budget meeting, Vicky, was
Mhm.
discussing whether we wanted to drop that from 2 to 1.
Mhm.
The sheet she's getting you is just a calculation that you saw in the budget meeting of how we figured that amount out for the secretary. That's the same sheet.
Thanks.
I think you've all seen that at the budget meeting when we did it, right?
You keep the rate the same? The all rate the same.
All the rates the same. We went up a little bit on the hours because we had a new person. Yeah. Taking a little bit longer. That's fine.
I don't have any questions with it.
I hope you don't.
Yeah, make a motion to approve the budget committee's budget for 2023 in the amount of $1,512.
A second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
I put the auditing budget in your package,
Yeah.
just so, although you approved it on the 11th in your work session, you could state it for the public and, just have everything transparent.
Okay, make a motion to approve the auditing budget for 2023 in the amount of $11,400.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
I don't think you have to revote them again, but I just thought we could do comments like this budget is based on a contractual
Okay,
amount for our auditors, so.
well said.
yeah.
Thank you for saying
Okay. All right, and then on the assessing budget, I'm not prepared to present that yet because I don't have the cost of the software. We questioned that last week when we talked about it. We're looking at budget actuals, so I'm requesting we table this till the work session of next week.
Okay,
Okay, then back to your agenda.
okay. Anybody got any announcements? You already did yours, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll open it up to public comment. Please try and keep this to 5 minutes. Be fair to everybody, so that everybody gets a chance to speak. Steve,
Steve Regal, Willow Road. Just want to know if it's possible to get scheduled as soon as it dries out, the potholes on Drake Road. They kind of get really bad.
I told Ron last week, getting just about every road in town. He gets to it. He's behind schedule. But
I
he's,
just want to know, just make sure we're on the list.
yeah. Yeah, everybody's on the list.
You,
David? 5 minutes.
Started.
Total.
Talk fast.
Ready? Now.
Okay, I just want to check on Green Mountain Shoulders and the damage that's eroding on my property. Is there any schedule on that?
Ron's aware of it. Hopefully next week he'll get to it.
Okay, because we're
Yes.
very close to freezing season.
Yeah,
and,
he's 2 weeks behind. He knows that.
Any reconsideration on the cease and desist order for the boatyard?
That's, Rebecca's been working on that, and there's no cease and desist that I believe was sent. She has been in contact with him. I think Audrey's been in contact with him too, so.
I have.
Okay, so no cease and desist like the planning board had
Yeah.
requested. Okay. The townhouse animal issue and nuisance problem, have we got any closer to being able to deal with that as a board?
Yeah, Yeah, we
We're gonna draft. it.
We're gonna draft policy. It'll be
Good.
on our work session probably next week. No,
Next week.
not next
A
week.
while ago, quite a while ago, I brought up the subject of current use properties that were in the lowest tax burden portion, which means they allow hunting and fishing, and I'm seeing no hunting and fishing on their property signs, which is revenue out of the town's pocket. Are we going anywhere with that?
Didn't know anything about it. Maybe we should let David know about that.
Okay.
And he and I talked about it, state law says basically, if you're in current use, you cannot post your land,
Correct.
which means then it's at full taxation.
So basically, somebody's
We have
gotta
to
get
take a
out
look at
there.
every one of our current use lots.
I just wanted to say after all of that, if we're having issues with time for an employee, I would volunteer to help out with that. So give it some thought. Did you discuss with zoning officer the RV permitting without consulting the health office?
I had talked to Rebecca, and this is like beating a dead horse to death. We've been down this road, and every week you seem to bring it up. You guys have noticed on every RV permit that goes out?
We have not been noticed.
Well, according to Rebecca, she says she
No, we have
sends.
not, that's why we've been beating it to death.
Well, according to her, she notices the health department on every RV permit she issues.
I have not received one notice, and I don't believe Mike has either.
Well, have you, Mike?
I do get some notifications at some point on permits that she's put out on the health officer's email that they may not see.
Okay.
But we are still not signing off on anything, so it's short, those permits are really not worth
There's
taking
no more
the-
permits to be issued this year anyway, so.
We just
We'll
haven't
handle
chose-
this out this winter.
We haven't chose to pursue it at this point.
And that's all I have.
Okay. So,
Cheryl Fire, Effingham Farmers Road. I've emailed Audrey a few times wondering where the street signs are that we're purchasing. Since July.
I know, absolutely, I know. You and also, Kim Eldridge has one, so it keeps floating and pushing on my list. So, I gave you an estimate of what it would
Yes, you
cost.
did.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
you
right,
did.
good.
But
All right.
said that the selectmen were gonna meet, that was in July, and put an order in,
well,
not just for us.
They did
Yeah.
meet, but I just keep letting other stuff take priority. I apologize to you.
I'll just contact this person myself.
we'll get the order in. Mike?
I was curious, when you mentioned the current use, Chuck, I believe there's two tiers, you pay 10%, you pay 20% if you wanna post your property, so you might wanna verify.
Dave didn't get into detail, he just told me if it's current use, it can't be posted, he didn't get into any of the detail on it either.
I pay 20% to be able to post, so,
Okay,
just saying, before you blanketly say that, please
Okay.
check into it, because I want the money back. And then, I'm curious, when you're doing these, every other week, you're gonna be doing a work session. When your language, you made your motion, it's specific to doing the work session that you outlined. I didn't know if you were looking to potentially amend that so that you could state that all other business that comes before the board, that would allow you to do other business that you might find advantageous as to not waiting 2 weeks. So just the thought that you can bring into more to the table than just the work session material. Throwing it out there. And this is case in point, is the operating plan that I provided you guys, Chuck, I know we've been in touch, you put a mapping, component together. And if you guys will take your fee schedule and that mapping and just put it to the draft document, and then you can call that an appendices A, B, whatever. And that's ready to go to the state, and you can get a new upgraded permit.
Should we attach the transfer station policy, which includes those fees, as an appendix A? And then the maps as appendix B?
I don't know that you need to, it's a pretty big document, so I don't know that.
Well, the reason I ask it is like 4, 5, 6 pages of stuff that covers the pricing. So it's gonna be pretty good sized doc anyway, but it won't have any context.
Well, that's why I didn't know if you could, that's why I turned that over to you to kind of see if you would be able to consolidate that pricing list, because that's all that we're trying to convey to the state, that you have prices for certain items, what those are.
We'll have to recreate the document.
Because the document's ready to go, and I left you a page in the back to like pick up where I left off, but that document's there, and it's all ready to go, and it highlights an expansion on the weights and volumes that the town would take in. So some of the deficiencies that we're experiencing from 1993 would be encompassed here, and going forward, it would capture, whatever business growth of the town.
Could you give me the pages out of the word pages out of the transfer station policy that are reflecting the fees? And I'll take a crack at scanning those down.
Anybody else? Melissa's been trying to ask.
My legs are falling asleep. I'm in here for a while. I just have to keep I'm gonna stand up so I can talk louder.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The easy stuff, so from this Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. at the Davis Meeting House, Eric Jones is leading a cemetery tour with stories and such, historical tidbits and fun facts, and there'll be refreshments, and it's part of what Grace mentioned earlier about the grant between the library and the Historical Society. This tour will actually be recorded for future people, so be able to listen to it. So, I wanted to let people know, I don't know if anybody in this room needs it, but to let you know that the Ospey Concerned Citizens is now taking applications for their Santa project. The program's open to children in Effingham and Ospey. So all you have to do is reach out to Ospey Concerned Citizens or go on their website to fill out the application. They are due the first week of November.
I'm sorry.
The first week of November is when they're due. And typically Effingham Connect's been receiving those applications from OCC that are Effingham and matching those up with sponsors. So hopefully we can do that again this year. I have a fear that the need is going to be really great, so we'll see how much we can actually help with that. But and the White Horse in Center Ossipee, I just wanted people again to know that they have a coat closet again this year, so it's outside. If you have donations of good winter clothing, sleeping bags, blankets, hats, gloves, that sort of thing, if you could take them there during their business hours, I'm not sure when those are, but typical Monday through Friday at their little shed building right at the end of Route 25. Then they'll put them in the coat closet, and those are free for anybody to just drive up and take what you need and drive away. That's a resource. So I got all that off of social media. So there's always comments in that social, you can't take what you see on social media. It's also a great benefit, and I would encourage the board to maybe try to incorporate some things into social media by way of agreed upon official notices or statements. People don't always go to the town website, but they do go to social media. It's not always monitored full-time because people that are behind it have full-time jobs and volunteer full-time on top of that.
But certainly your news notices, anything you need to get out there, so you're more than welcome to send it in, and we'll put it up. 'Cause there is benefit to it, is. The, lastly, is just a personal thing, am I 5 minutes up?
Almost.
Oh. They cut me a little slack with it. I appreciate that. So, I don't really pay attention, it's not because I don't care, but I don't come to the selectmen's meetings, because I'm busy. Which is not an excuse. So last week, as I often do sometimes at work, I like to keep up with what's going on in the surrounding communities, see if there's anything of interest to the county. So while I'm working, sometimes I'll listen to Osby or Tamworth, and this last week I was listening to Effingham. That's a really bad idea when you live in the town. You need to take an extra break and walk around the building, but besides that, I know that we have regulations, we have rules, we have permits, we have all the things. Almost the entire meeting I felt was about blue tarps. Or a lot, and much of the meeting, and I know people don't like to see it when they drive by, maybe somebody's running a business on their own property. But my volunteer work, in addition to Effingham Connect, is driven, hard, focused, nonstop with a group of other individuals at all speed. They're working on the housing crisis. And I know that zoning is important, I suppose, but I wanted to show you what I see when I see the tarps, and that's people that live under them. So I just would ask my fellow Effingham citizens and the board of selectmen just to be mindful that this is what's actually going on. Sorry, I'm not gonna cry.
It's okay to.
The gas station, the aquifer, we're getting sued, yada yada, so on and so forth. I can take you right now, before it gets dark if you like, I can take you to 11 campsites on the aquifer. So I'm just asking you to be mindful of the priorities, of reaching out to my fellow citizens, that there's a lot more going on than what's happening right in this room every week. And it's really important. And those people aren't here because they would never stand up and tell their stories. Thank you.
John, go ahead.
Yep, John Davis, Townhouse Road. I just had a quick question for, week before last, I guess I brought up the school bus stop that I pass at Champion Townhouse and Jones Road intersection there. And I think Joe was here for that one. There's 4 vehicles parked, 2 before the stop sign, 2 after. They said that's, so there's parking laws and rules and regulations. And of course, I don't want anybody getting any tickets for parking on the stop sign or anything, no tickets or anything like that. This is just about public safety, somebody getting hurt. I go through there at 6:40, 6:50 something. And then again at 4 in the afternoon, thereabouts. Seeing families dropping off their kids, waiting, and all the normal stuff. But before the bus comes, you literally have to go 2 car lengths. If you're coming up Champion Hill, you have to go 2 car lengths past the stop sign into Jones Road to see if there's a car coming, because of the vehicles that are all parked there. And again, it's not about the people and the kids or anything, it's just about my own concern in public safety, 100% public
Can they
safety.
stop you?
Sure.
Audrey has already been in contact with the school.
Yeah.
The transportation director's gone out, talked to people who move their cars,
Very nice.
and they're gonna try and do something with the rearranging the bus schedule or stop or something.
That's awesome.
I was gonna ask the cars to move back from the stop sign. She was gonna go out and observe and see what I was talking about. And she gave me her name and number. We continue to have a concern, but I literally talked to her yesterday. So you should see a change in the next few days about people moving away from the
Yeah.
stop sign.
And again, it's not just that, anywhere there's an intersection, it's just a concern for somebody getting hurt. Banging U-turns after the bus, is all stuff. Thank you. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
that. And then the last, if we can just get an update, the Bailey Road Bridge, is that, on schedule, off schedule, working, not working, I guess, so, but can you just give us a quick overview of that?
You wanna take that?
Thank you.
So there was a request by the contractor.
Yeah.
for an approved delay in the contract for some issues he ran into with dewatering, as a result of one of the rains we had. We approved that extension into really November,
And then
end of November. They're going to temporary patch with pavement over the bridge this winter and the front, and the approaches to the bridge on both sides. Next spring, they'll come in, rip all that pavement out, put in the finished pavement, and put in the finished guardrail system at that point in time.
And then another question in regarding to that, where, do you know where the dam chuck is to Providence Lake? Does that flow from the lake to that marshy area, or does the water come in from that marshy area into the lake that side?
If you're standing at the beginning, so as you're traveling down Bailey,
Yeah.
you just get to the edge of where the bridge is, if you look to your left about 30 feet, you can
Yes.
see the dam.
Yeah, okay,
That's where it is. So
so
that's holding the water back at the lake, comes over that, comes into the,
goes into that, under the bridge and go, and it exits the lake that way.
and when Mike did a project a couple years ago to get the engineering on this, where the state ended up helping us hire somebody to come in and do a complete study of that.
Yeah.
One of the thoughts was to take out the dam. But what they proved was they could not do that effectively and maintain the water level that needed to be maintained.
That's the only dam on the lake like that?
Yeah,
Ish, yeah.
yep, Mike's nodding yes, I knew we know the answer to that one.
Thank you much. Awesome. That's all I have.
Okay. One quick thing, because we get a non-public to get into.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Chuck reached out to me to take a ride down Elm Street because he shared the work that you guys are doing